Welcome everybody to the Windor Rose and our very first Storytellers Spookathon. So we're very excited to have our storytellers. They come every second Tuesday of the month, and they come during lunch at 2 o'clock, and there's no charge for them if you come at that time. Tonight there's a charge for them because we have to pay them. So in any case, I hope you enjoy it. They're all marvelous storytellers, and if we had all night long, I could tell you my own set of stories, which I will refrain from because they're not as good as their stories. So, our first storyteller tonight, if you all got a little spooktacular event sheet on your table, and they also have some handouts that if anybody is interested in any of their other activities that are going on, they would be happy to give those to you. And we're being filmed tonight by Lakefront TV, so you'll get to see this all over again if you go to the right channel and you go on the right day and the right time. And look at your listings so you know what it is. Okay, we have first up with Black Licorice Bubblegum, Bill Cardell. Just raise your hand, Bill. Thank you. Then we have Mary Culhane, An Irish Ghost Story, Mitchell O'Rear. Just raise your hand. Campfire Story by Gayan Wilson. Pete, raise your hand. At the Flamingo, Madeline Potts, raise your hand. And The Lonely One by Robin Schulte, raise your hand. She's not. Oh, that's what I meant. Oh yeah, you can tell it's been a long day for me. Okay, well in any case, without further ado, Bill Cardell.
My birthday's the day before Halloween. So, well, if you're going to have a birthday near a holiday or near a festival or some kind of celebration, I can't think of a better holiday than Halloween. I mean, think about it. You get birthday cake, ice cream, presents, and then the next day you dress up and people give you candy. It's phenomenal. I had some great birthdays, I must admit. Now, one stands out. When I was about 9 or 10 in the 3rd grade, it was the year of the monster. My friends and I, Jimmy Van Dorn and Mark Siljander, we were totally into monsters. Monsters, everything. We had monster trading cards. Instead of building airplane models and car models, Revell had a monster model making set. The classic monsters, Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, the creature from the Black Lagoon. We were so into monsters, we would, instead of playing cowboys and Indians or chasing around war, we would play monsters. We would have our own monster movies. Mark's dad had a Super 8 camera, and we had elaborate costumes, and we did all kinds of sets, and we made monsters. We watched monsters on Shock Theater. It was tremendous. So you can imagine this year we were going to be monsters, and we were going to be the classics. Now, Jimmy, he had some boots which we glued wooden blocks to and painted black. Some old pants, one of his dad's coats which we stuffed, painted his hands green, and he had a store-bought mask of Frankenstein with red eyeballs. And there was a switch in his hand, a battery-operated switch. The wire ran down through his coat, and he could turn them on and off and go blink, 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 with those red eyes. He was a great Frankenstein. Now, Mark, he was a little bit smaller, and he loved the Wolfman. He went behind his mother's couch, behind the couch, and there's a brown shag carpeting. He cut pieces of the shag carpeting, and he glued it to his sister's nylons, her pantyhose, and was able to pull it over his face so he had hair sticking up out all over, painted his nose black, and had the fur on his hands, and he has some canine teeth. He was a great wolf man. And I had a white shirt with a red vest, the white shirt with collar I pulled up, and I had my hair plastered down, and I darkened it. Yeah, then we didn't have the stuff you have now. We had to use black shoe polish, and had a little widow's peak in the front. And I put white powder all over my face, and I had some fangs, which I painted with some red fingernail polish. I was a great Bela Lugosi. I want to suck your blood. We were gonna have so much fun. And this year we were gonna go trick-or-treating without our parents. They were going to let us go out on our own without even my older brother or Mark's older sister chaperoning. We were going to get to go out on our own. And the best thing of all is on Halloween night for my birthday, they were going to spend the night. This was going to be the best ever because Friday night was my birthday. Saturday was Halloween, just like this year. It was phenomenal. We got all ready. We spent all day getting ready, and we were all set to go out, and then my mom's standing there. She wasn't very big, less than 5 foot. Gave us one of those, and we're all going, I want to soak your blood. And she said, wait, there's rules. What? Yes, there's rules. If you're going to go out, you need to know the rules, and you need to abide by the rules. If you don't abide by the rules, there are consequences. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We all three knew not to trifle with my mother. And she said, okay, first thing, you stay within the neighborhood. It was about 4 blocks. All around each one, and about 25, 30, almost 40. Yeah, okay, sure. Now, if the light is out, you do not go up to that door. Do you understand? That means they don't want you there. So do not ring or go up on and knock on the door. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. When you get candy, you must bring it home. You are not to eat it until you bring it home. There had been a scare the year before, people putting razor blades in apples. That's what people were talking about, all kinds of. In fact, some places they were x-raying the candy, taking it to the hospital to get it x-rayed before you could even eat it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And last but not least, you must be home by 8 o'clock. Do you understand? Not a minute later. But Mom, excuse me? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We went out. We started having fun. It was great. We had our pillowcase bags. Yes, pillowcase bags, because back then we had full-size candy bars. Yeah, not the snack size, not the bite size. They were full-size. Baby Ruth, Old Henry, Milky Way, Three Musketeers. Every once in a while, Charleston Chew, and somebody would drop in some of those Mary Jane things, and even a Tootsie Roll Pop. But full-size candy bars. So we had our bags, and we had a whole like a routine worked up. We go up, and the parents and the adults were taking it. They liked it. They were having a good time. We were having a good time. Blink, 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 blink. I want to suck your blood. And we were having a great time. Now, our neighborhood consisted of going from Augusta down to Erie, and from Oak Park Avenue over to Scoville. And we're walking, and you know what? At this age, kids like to talk. And if you've ever been in a 3rd grade class lately, but it's always the same. That's when they get really gabby. Everything is funny. Bodily functions are funny. Noises, any kind of noise is funny. Bodily fluids are funny. Everything's funny. And we were having a great time, and we were laughing. And we were just, and then all of a sudden we realized We had gone past Erie, down Scoville. We were almost to Lake Street, and what brought our attention was the flickering street lamp, ominously going on and off. And there we were right in front of the house. And if you ever said the house, everybody knew what you were talking about because it was right out of Central Casting. It was a house set back from the street a little bit on a rise, and it looked like a haunted house. It had a iron fence all the way around it, rusted with those spikes sticking up. It looked like spears all the way around. And the house itself looked like a Gothic house that was built back in the 1800s. Didn't look like it had been painted since then either. The paint was peeling and cracked, and the steps going up to the big porch, some of them were broken, and the window was cracked. And I said, well, you need to go home. And there's always an instigator in the group, and that was Mark. He was smaller, Wolfman, remember him? Yeah. He said, I think you ought to run up there and just knock on the doorbell. No, I can't do that. What are you talking about? It's your birthday. Come on, what are you, chicken? Come on. Oh, that's okay. We'll change your diaper when we go home. Come on. And then Jimmy joined in right away, too. How come me? Because it's your birthday. Oh. Okay. That was the first time I was faced with a dare. I don't know about you and your experiences with dares, but I learned the hard way. I opened the gate. I walked through grass that was way up over my knees. It hadn't been cut and I don't know when. And I'm thinking about all the things that could be crawling around in there. Snakes, rats, I don't know. And I'm picking up my legs and I go up the stairs. And there, up on the porch, the door, and on the door there was a brass claw, some bird of prey claw. And that was the door knocker. Now, rumor had it there was somebody who lived there, but nobody had seen anybody for, they don't know when, but my brother, my older brother, who worked at the A&P, delivering groceries, verified that yes, he had delivered groceries there. He had gotten the money from underneath the mat in an envelope, but he never saw anybody. He even stayed to peek around the corner, but never saw anybody get the groceries. So somebody did live there. I pulled the claw back. Boom! I started to turn to run. The door flung open, and there stood a woman. She was all shriveled up. Her face was all wrinkled, and she had wrinkled lips, and her hair was white, and it was done up in a bun on top of her head. And she had this long black dress with the neck all the way up her neck to her chin, with buttoned up on the side. And she had these long, bony fingers with long fingernails. And she said, I love little children. And she reached down. Oh, you're trick-or-treating, how nice. Down into a black cauldron type bowl that was on a table right beside her. She pulled out something black with a little white something and dropped it in, motion for me to open my bag because I'm standing there. She dropped it into my bag, and then she said again, I love little children. And I turned and I ran as fast as I could. I ran down out through the gate, and I looked for my friends. They weren't there. I looked down the street. They were down the street, and they were laughing. I went running down. Did you see that woman? Did you see her open up the door? She was all like this with a bun on her head, and she had long fingernails. And I love little children. And she dropped in my bag. She dropped it, and I pulled it out. And it was round, twisted on each end. And I could smell it. And it was licorice. I loved licorice. Oh, and it was so aromatic. Oh, it smelled so good. I started to unwrap it. It looked like there was something white on the black paper. It looked like a skull. I don't know. I opened it up and I smelled it. And my friends are going, "Don't, Bill. You know what your mom said you're not." And I said, "I'm not going to eat it. I'm licking." And it tasted so good. It was so good. I felt like that dog in the cartoons would take a biscuit and he'd float up in the air and float back down again. I couldn't help it. I put it in my mouth. They said, don't put it in your mouth. What are you doing? I'm not eating it. I'm chewing. It's bubble gum. And it was the best tasting I've ever had. It was so flavorful. Oh, and each bite released more and more of the flavor. It was so good. And then Jimmy said, "You know, it's almost 8 o'clock. What? We started running as fast as we could back to my house. We're running and running and running. And I'm chewing. And you know how gummed, when you chew it, the flavor starts to disappear, particularly bubble gum. You got to stick another piece in your mouth. Oh, no, this just kept getting more and more and more intense with each and every chew. And then we got home and we opened up the door and we go inside and we start to go up the stairs to my room, and my mother, who is standing there tapping her foot. "You're late." "What?" "It's 8:06. "Mom, it's 8:06. That's it." "Excuse me?" "I'm sorry. I told you you had to be home by 8. That was the rule. I said there's consequences. And the consequences are Jimmy and Mark have to go home." "But Mom, no, come on." "Excuse me? Do you want to be grounded?" No. Okay. Jimmy, Mark, I'm sorry. Well, they lived on either side of the house, so it wasn't a big deal for them to go home. They left. They knew it was not gonna happen. "And you need to get upstairs. Let me have your bag of candy." "Mom, but what's in your mouth?" "Nothing." "Excuse me?" Okay, here's a moral dilemma. Do I tell the truth and get in trouble, or do I not tell the truth and run the risk that somewhere down the line she's going to find out the truth and I'm going to be in really big trouble? What do? I admit it. "What? You did what? Spit that out right now." "All right, let me have your bag of candy. That's it. You're not getting any." "But Mom, it's how..." "Excuse me? Now get upstairs and brush your teeth. They look terrible. They're all black." "Yes, ma'am." I go upstairs. And as I go upstairs, I get that gum in my hand. "Throw it away!" She calls up the stairs. "Yes, ma'am." I take the gum. I even remember that song. "Does your chewing gum lose the flavor on the bedpost overnight? Does your mother say don't chew it? Do you swallow it in spite? Can you catch it on your tonsils and heave it left and right?" Whoop, whoop. Okay. I stuck it on the bedpost. That's probably the only Halloween candy I was gonna get all Halloween. I went in, I got ready for bed, I brushed my teeth. It was still dark. I got some baking soda peroxide. I'm working on them, and I'm working on finally getting to a gray. And I go to lay down, and I think about the day, and it was a marvelous day. We played Monster. We got dressed up as monsters. It was wonderful. Blink, blink. I want to suck your blood. It was a wonderful, wonderful day, and I fell into a wonderful sleep. But then while I was sleeping, I started to toss and turn because I heard, "I love little children." I woke up, I sat up bolt upright, and there in my mouth was the gum. I was chewing the gum. I took it out of my mouth. I looked at the bedpost and I said, "Oh, it's my older brother. He's always doing that." Wait a minute. He didn't spend the night at home because I was going to have my twerp friends. He wasn't going to stay here. He was saying to his friend, it wasn't my brother. What is weird? I threw the gum in the garbage can. I fell back asleep. I love I sat back up, and again I was chewing the gum. I took it out of my mouth, and this time it had pieces of paper and pencil shavings stuck to it. Oh my goodness, it was gross, it was disgusting. I opened up the window to my bedroom, I threw it out onto the lawn, and I fell back into bed, and I tossed and I turned, and I finally fell asleep, and I was sleeping until the aroma of pancakes! Pancakes! Oh, I love pancakes. Oh, Mom's not mad at me anymore. She made pancakes. She only made pancakes on special occasions like my birthday. Oh, my goodness, pancakes. Oh, I ran downstairs. Pancakes, pancakes, pancakes. Oh, pecans. Oh, I love pecans and pancakes. Oh, and maple syrup. Oh. My mom's here. Excuse me? What? You made pancakes? Oh, I can't wait. Since I think I told you to throw that gum away. I did. Since when do we throw things on the front lawn? She pulled off her slipper and showed me where she'd gone out to get the newspaper, and there on the bottom of her slipper was that gum. And now it had pencil shavings and paper and pieces of grass and maybe even some dog. Never mind. You're eating. Excuse me. Clean it. Okay, so I took it. I went to the waste paper basket. I scraped it off. I watched it drop in the basket. And then I went back, washed up my hands. Oh, pancakes. And I was just about to, when all of a sudden, something scuttled black up out of the trash can. It was coming towards the table. My mom turned around and said, "What's that?" I said, "I don't know, a roach in my kitchen, get it." And I'm going around and I go underneath the table, and there it is, that black bubble gum. It's like moving, it's like wiggling itself, and it goes up the leg of the table. It goes underneath the table, and I can hear faintly, "I love little children." And I run around. I get a mason jar. I take the mason jar, I stick it up underneath the table, and I catch it. And then I get the top. I put the top on. And then I get some tape, and I wrap masking tape, and I wrap it around. And then I get some aluminum foil and put it in. And then I get a paper bag and put it in that. And I said, Mom, I gotta go. I gotta go right now. I gotta take care of this. And I jump outside, and I get on my bike, and I ride. I ride as fast as I can. I go down to Lake Street in Scoville, and there I go to the house, and I open up the gate. And I dig with my hands right in the lawn in that tall grass, and I stuffed that jar in there, and I covered it up, and I ride away on my bike, and I can hear, "I love little children." This is a cautionary tale. There are consequences to your actions. And if there are rules, you need to obey them, particularly if they're made by your mother. And last but not least, if you ever come upon a little old lady who says, "I love little children," do not take anything from her.